Hi there, this is the Aptitude Guy. Now, as we all know, today was the day one of TCS NQT test. And after some digging, I got my hands on these 14 few questions which were asked in today's test. So let's get started. This is the first question. Now, I'll get straight into it. If you want to solve it, then pause as and when the question is visible. Otherwise, just carry on. So the question says 5 power x into 3 power y equals 225 into 405. And what is the value of blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Now, obviously, all we need to do over here is convert 225 and 405 into prime factors of 5 and 3. So let's do that. 225 is nothing but 5 square into 3 square. And 405 is nothing but 5 power 1 into 3 power 4. So this is equal to 5 power 2 plus 1 into 3 power 2 plus 4. This is equal to 5 power 3 into 3 power 6. So obviously this means x equals 3 and y equals 6. Now let's solve the second part of the question. We have 3 to the power 2 into 6 minus 3 into 3. That is 3 equals 3 power 12 minus 9. That is 3 power 3 and that is equal to 27. That's it. Answer is C, 27. Let's move on. Okay. So in this question, we have curved surface area and the sum of the areas of its two circular surfaces, and it is 5 times of this. So the equation is very simple. We have 2 pi r h, that is the curved surface area of the cylinder. This is equal to 5 times twice the area of the two circular surfaces. Area of a circle is pi r square. That's it. Let's cancel things out now. First of all, 2 and 2 gone. Second of all, pi and pi gone. Third of all, r and the r square gone. Now let's get back. H is equal to 5r. Now they have given you that the height is 6 centimeters. So obviously 6 equals 5r. So r equals 6 by 5. That is equal to 1.2. That is there in the options, but that is not the correct answer. Why? They have asked for the diameter. This is the radius. So obviously the diameter is equal to twice into 1.2, that is equal to 2.4. So you have to be very careful with this. The people who set the question papers, they know what kind of mistakes you might make. That is why they give you such options. Make sure you read the question twice before actually marking an answer. Let's move on. Now this is a very simple question. The mean of a set of data is 5. Mean is nothing but average. Average is equal to 5. Cool. What will be the mean if 10 is subtracted from each data? Now, one thing about averages is if something happens to all the numbers, if something happens to all the elements, the same thing happens to the entire average. Now here, if 10 is being subtracted from each data, from every data, then 10 has to be subtracted from the average as well. So the new average, average part 2 is nothing but 5 minus 10, that is equal to minus 5. That is the answer because that is what they have asked. What will be the mean? The new mean is 5 minus 10. That's all. So just remember, if something happens to all the pieces of information, then the same thing happens to the entire average. If 10 gets added to each and every term, then 10 gets added to the final average as well. It's the same thing. Let's move on. Question number 4. Let's read the question first. What is the sum which when divided among x, y, z in the ratio 3 is to 5 is to 7 would give 8,000 more to z than when it is divided among them in the ratio 11 is to 15 is to 19. Okay, so these two are the ratios. Now the sum is not changing. The sum is the same. That is in one case getting divided in this ratio and in the other case divided in this ratio. Now let's consider the first ratio. We have 3 is to 5 is to 7. Now if we multiply all of them by x, let's assume that the first part is 3x, the second part is 5x, and the third part is 7x. When you add all of them, you get 15x. Now let's consider the second ratio. We have 11, 15 and 19. So let's consider 11y, 15y and 19y. When you add all of them, you get 45y. What does this mean? This means that the sum that we need to find, that is a multiple of both 15 and 45. So with this, we can eliminate two wrong options. What are those? A is not a multiple of 15 and 45, as well as C. A and C are gone. We are only left out with B and D. Now what we can do is trial and error. Let's consider B for example. We have 13500. So according to the first ratio, Z should get 7 by 3 plus 5 plus 7 into 135000. This is equal to 63,000. And according to the second ratio, Z should get 19 divided by 11 plus 15 plus 19 into 135000. This is equal to 57k. Now, is the difference between these two equal to 8,000 like they have told in the question? No, absolutely not. The difference between these two is not equal to 8,000. So obviously, this means that 13500 also is wrong. So what are we left with? D. Now, are we 100% sure that that is the correct answer? No, but we are 100% sure that the other options are wrong. So by elimination method, we get the correct answer as D. Let's move on to the next question. Now in this question, the language is a little shady, but it's actually a very simple question if you understand what the question is telling to us. Let's start. 96 men were engaged building a wall of length 18 kilometers in 4 weeks. Okay, so this is what they had to do. But could they do that? Obviously not. Now, after a week, only 4-kilometer wall was finished after a week. How many people? 96 men. Okay, so we all know this formula. M1 T1 by W1 equals M2 T2 by W2. So let's use this. What is M1? 96. What is T1? 1 week. What is W1? 4 kilometers. This is equal to how many men needed? That is X into how many weeks left? 3 weeks left divided by how many kilometers left? 14 kilometers left because totally 18 kilometers are there and they were finished only till 4 kilometers. Now when you solve this for X, X is equal to, let's first cancel it out. We have 4 into 24 over here and then 3 8s are 24. So obviously X is equal to 8 into 14, that is equal to 112. Now is this the final answer? Obviously not. They have asked how many extra men are needed. How many men do we already have? We already have 96 men. How many extra needed? Answer is nothing but 112 minus 96, that is equal to 16. That is the answer. Let's move on. Now, do not get intimidated because of the size of the question. It's actually a very simple 7th standard level question. In an exam, 5 marks are awarded for each correct answer and 2 marks are removed for every wrong answer. A student scored 32 marks. Okay. So suppose the number of correct answers are X and the number of wrong answers are Y. Then the first equation will be 5X minus 2Y equals 32. Done. Now, if 4 marks were awarded for every correct answer and 1 mark was removed for every wrong answer. So this is case 2. 4 for every correct answer and 1 removed for every wrong answer. Then the score would have been 34. If the student attempted all the questions, how many questions were there in the test? So ultimately, what we have to find is X plus Y. That is what we need to find. Okay, awesome. So the best way to do this would be elimination method. The best way to do that would be multiply the second equation by 2. So what do you end up getting? You have 8x minus 2y equals 68. So let this be equation 1, let this be equation 2, and let this be equation 3. So all you have to do now is equation 3 minus equation 1. What do you get? 8x Minus 5x is equal to 3x. Minus 2y gone. 68 minus 32 is nothing but 36. So x equals 12. Now how to find y? Just substitute this in the second equation and get it. Y will be equal to 4x minus 34. That is equal to 48 minus 34. And that is equal to 14. So we have x, we have y. So obviously the total number of questions is x plus y. That is equal to 12 plus 14. That is equal to 26. Answer is C. That's it. It's not tough. It's pretty simple. It's just slightly time consuming, but it's not tough at all. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, this question actually is filled with a lot of nonsensical information which you actually do not need. This question will test your English comprehension skills. So I'll go very slow with this. Let's start. A file of cadets consisting of 10 rows and 5 columns. This entire thing is absolutely useless. Measures 420 meters. This is important. In length along the direction of its marching. Okay. How much time it would take to cross a stretch of 3 kilometers. This again is important. If the stride of each cadet is 80 centimeters and he takes 57 strides per minute. This is actually strides per minute. Now, what is a stride? We'll get to that a little later. First of all, let's visualize the entire problem. We have a stretch of 3 kilometers. All right. So this is 3 kilometers. Let's convert that into meters. We have 3000 meters over here. Now, this file of cadets is 420 meters long. So this entire file of cadet, suppose they are like this. Over here, there are a lot of cadets. And this is equal to 420 meters. Now, how long does it take for them to completely finish this entire stretch of land? Now, how many meters does this block actually have to cover? First of all, it has to cover this 3000 meters, yes. But when do they actually completely cross the entire length of 3000 meters? When the last person of this file crosses the entire length of this land. That means that has to come till here. This person, this last person over here has to come till here. That means what is the total length that this first person is covering? This first person is covering these 3000 meters plus these 420 meters. So the total distance that needs to be traveled is 3000 meters plus 420 meters because we are only considering the first person over here. The last person will determine when we finish the entire journey. But the first person will tell us how much they actually traveled. So this is equal to 3420 meters. Now that we have the distance, let's check out the speed. They've mentioned that the stride of each cadet is 80 centimeters. What is a stride? Suppose this is a cadet. They are walking in this direction. Stride is nothing but the length between the 2 feet. That is the stride. That is the length at which the cadets are moving. And this is uniform for all the cadets. This is 80 centimeters. Okay. And how many such strides are being taken in 1 minute? 57 strides are being taken per minute. So per minute, what is the distance traveled by each cadet? Per minute, the distance traveled by each cadet is 80 into 57. But this is in centimeters. We need to convert it into meters. So this divided by 100 meter per minute. This is the speed. Now we have the distance and we have the speed. So finding the time is no big deal at all. Time is equal to 3420 divided by 80 into 57 divided by 100. Now you may feel that this is a very tough thing to solve, and you may be right. That is why they have given you the on-screen calculator. This is when you're supposed to use that. When you solve this, you will get 75 minutes as the answer. which is obviously equal to 1 hour and 15 minutes. That is B. This was a slightly time consuming question. You'll need your calculator as well as your brains. Let's move on to the next question. Now this again is not a tough question, but there are a lot of chances of making silly mistakes. So I'll go slow with this. Please concentrate. X plus 10% of 240 is 60% more than X percent of 180. Now how to convert that into a mathematical equation? X plus 10%. X plus 10 divided by 100 of 240 is, so equal to sign. 60% more than, 60% more than means 160%. If they had told less than, then it would have been 40%. So 60% more than 160%, X percent. So into X by 100 of 180 into 180. So this is the first equation. With this, we can find the value of X because one equation, one unknown. No matter how dirty the equation is, there is just one unknown, so we can easily find it. Let's cancel stuff out now. 100 and 100 gone. 0, 0, 0, 0 gone. What else do we have? 4 into 60, 4 into 4, and 4 into 15. And 3 5s are 15, 3 6 are 18. Anything else? Nothing else. Let's continue. So this 5 gets multiplied with x plus 10. So we have 5x plus 50. That is equal to 6 into x. So 6x. This means x equals 50. We finally have the value of x. Obviously, this is not the final answer, but this is very important for the answer. Now, in the second part of the question, they have asked 15% of x plus 20 is what percentage less than 25% of x? So let's find both those values. 15% of x plus 20. 15% of 50 plus 20, that is 70. This is equal to 10.5. And 25% of x. So 25% of 50. That is equal to 12.5. These two are very important right now. They have asked 10.5 is what percentage smaller than 12.5. That is very easy now. It's like a child's play. Now, whenever they ask smaller than or greater than percentage, the numerator is always the difference between the two. What's the difference between 10.5 and 12.5? Difference is 2 divided by. What's the reference? They have asked less than 25% of x. That is 12.5. So 12.5 is in the denominator into 100. That's it. 100 by 12.5 is nothing but 8. So the answer is 16%. That is the answer. It's not tough, slightly time consuming, yes, but it's not tough, but there are a lot of chances of making silly mistakes. So you need to tread carefully. Let's move on. Now for this question, I wasn't able to get the options, but that is the answer. Now the point over here is how to make sure you don't waste a lot of your time in doing this problem. You need to use the calculator a little bit, but there is a way to use the calculator effectively as well, in the sense what to punch into the calculator. Because we don't want to type a lot of things, because obviously on-screen calculators are a pain to use. So first of all, let's write things down and simplify this entire process. If the positive square root of 90 and minus square root of 80, that is nothing but square root of 90 minus square root of 80 is multiplied with square root of 2 minus 1, and the product is raised to the power of 4. So this entire thing to the power of 4. The result would be what? Obviously, you don't want to type this entire thing into the calculator. So we can break it down a little bit. First of all, we have a square root and we have a 4. So obviously, this will land up 90 minus square root of 80 to the power 2 into square root of 2 minus 1 to the power 4. Now this is what you need to feed into the calculator. When you do that, you will get the answer as 0.0087. You'll actually get 866 something something, but you can round it off to 0.0087. Let's move on. This again, not difficult at all, but you just need to understand the question. Again, your English is getting tested over here. A man has to travel 50 kilometers in 2 hours. Okay. So the only thing that we need from this is the total distance that he has to travel is 50 kilometers and the total time he has to do that is 2 hours. Please do not end up doing 50 by 2, that is 25 kilometer per hour. That is not his speed. This is what he needs to do, but that is not the speed at which he is traveling. So first, he could cover 20 kilometer in 1 hour. All right. So that means initially his speed 1 is equal to 20 kilometer per hour. This is his initial speed. So 1 hour done, he has only 1 hour left because total time is 2 hours. Now he had to stop for 10 minutes for refueling. Okay. Now he doesn't even have 1 hour left. He has only 50 minutes left. By what factor should he increase his speed with the reference to that of the speed during the first hour to be able to complete the journey as per schedule? Okay. So how much more distance does he need to travel? He needs to travel 30 more kilometers. And how much time does he have in order to do that? He has only 50 minutes. So that is 50 by 60 hours. So what is the speed? Very simple. Speed part 2 is distance divided by time. That is 30 divided by 50 by 60. That is equal to 30 into 60 divided by 50. So 0 and 0 gone. 5, 6 are 30. This is equal to 36 kilometer per hour. So the first speed is 20 kilometer per hour. Second speed is 36 kilometer per hour. So this is how many times of the first speed? That is the question. So all that you have to do is speed 2 divided by speed 1. That is equal to 36 divided by 20. That is equal to 1.8. That is the answer. Answer is bravo. You see that? It was just basic speed, time and distance problem. It wasn't that tough. It's just that the language over there is meant to confuse you. Just break it down, segmentalize it, and then solve it. No big deal. Let's move on. Okay. Classic time and work problem. X is 4 times as efficient as Y. So efficiency of X is equal to 4 times the efficiency of Y. And they have told working together, they complete the work in 16 days. That means efficiency of X plus efficiency of Y equals 1 by 16. Now they have asked in how many days Y working alone will be able to do half of the work. Okay. So we need to convert everything in terms of Y, and good for us, that is already being done. So let's substitute this over here. We have 4 efficiency of Y plus efficiency of Y equals 1 by 16. So 5 efficiency of Y equals 1 by 16. This means efficiency of Y equals 1 by 16 into 5. That is equal to 1 by 80. Now, that is why 80 has been given in the options. This means that Y will take 80 days to complete the entire work. But is that the question? No. They have mentioned half the work. That is very important. So what is the answer? Answer is 80 by 2. That is equal to 40 days. You need to be extremely careful with such questions. Always make sure you read the last part of the question in order to figure out what actually has been asked. A lot of times they give you a bunch of information and in the end, they give a slight twist over there. So be careful. Let's carry on. This is a very simple and basic problem on statistics. Let's see. The collection of numbers which comprise the data given below is arranged in ascending order. If the median of this data is 12.5, what is the value of n? Now, the best part about this question is it is pre-arranged in ascending order. They have already served it to us because for median, we always need to rearrange all the numbers or all the information in ascending or descending order. Now, what is median? First of all, let's count how many numbers are there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have a total of 8 terms. Median is what? When the number of terms is even, then the median is the average of the middle two terms. That is n minus 1 plus 15 divided by 2. This is equal to 12.5. So let's solve for n now. Very simple. We have n minus 1 plus 15 equals 25. So n minus 1 equals 10. So n equals 11. That's it. That is the answer. It's that simple. The best part about this question again is that it is prearranged in ascending order, because the maximum time waste that happens in statistical problems is in rearranging all the numbers in ascending or descending order. But they have already done that for us. Very nice. Let's move on. This again is a problem where you will need to use your calculator. But then again, how to use the calculator effectively, how to make sure that you type as less as possible, this is what you do. The question is, how much percentage is this percentage of this percentage of this of this? Now, whenever they ask you how much percentage of this percentage, that means you can just cancel out this percentage and this percentage. So you simply have 0.025 into 240%. 240% is nothing but 2.4 into 1.5 into 0.9. This is all that you have to type in your calculator. Ultimately, you will get the answer as 0.081. That's it. This question is given to people just because a lot of people get intimidated by the numbers, because there are so much percentage and so many offs and so many numbers over there. People just think that it's okay, let's just skip the question. But you don't need to. Very simple. Let's move on. This is a very nice question on profit and loss. Obviously, you can solve this question using the general method, but now I'll tell you a very nice shortcut using which you can get to the answer in literally 5 to 10 seconds. Let's do it. After purchasing 2 copies of the same book, X sold them respectively at 0.8 and 1.4 times their cost prices. That means 0.8 means what? A 20% loss. And 1.4 times means what? A 40% gain. So when you have such a question where the cost price is same, obviously it's the same book, so the cost prices are same. In such cases, all you need to do is find the average of the gain and the loss of the two quantities. That is, the first one is a 20% loss, so minus 20%. And plus there's a 40% gain, so 40% divided by 2. This is equal to 20% divided by 2, that is equal to 10%. And obviously it is a gain. If it were a loss, it would have been minus 10%. But since it is positive, it obviously is 10% gain. That's all from me today. All the very best. I hope you do really well in your test. If you have any doubts in any of these topics or any of these questions, be sure to comment them down below. I'll be sure to check them out and reply appropriately. And do consider subscribing if my content helps you. Thank you so much.